is it that you help others relate to you know what? Everyone has this. It doesn't matter where you are, everyone has this.
Right. I think really, like I said, it's I think a lot of it is conditions based. If I were to go back to Atlanta, Georgia right now to my neighborhood, I think I would see probably the same images that I remember where the bubbles are small, they're socioeconomically disadvantaged people. Um, the literacy rates are low, health literacy, education is challenging in those environments. I think for me, if you can just pull people out of those environments, for me it
Mm,
was the military.
yeah.
For others, it may be your local church organization. For others, whatever it is, if you can find these opportunities to pull people out of those environments, and you can show them something different, it's a compounding effect. I'll be honest with you. There were so many things that I've been exposed to in my career that I had no idea even existed. Growing up. Um, for example, the military service academies. I had no idea there was a West Point. No clue. I had no idea about what it would take to go to college. Because I was never college bound when I was in high school, and so to no detriment to my own parents, they love me dearly, and a lot of the reason why I work so hard is for them and the way they raised me. But they couldn't impart that knowledge on me either because they didn't have those tools and that experience to say this is how you go to college. This is how you take the next step to move up the corporate ladder. They didn't have that, and so when you're in an environment where no one has those tools, no one has those resources, and those resources aren't coming, then you have to figure out a way to pull people out of those environments. And again, us as leaders, at different levels, we have to figure out ways to create those opportunities. Again, for me, it was the military, but I would imagine that in my work in the global health space, focusing on the social determinants of health and health inequities, that's one of the ways that I work on trying to uplift people, because it is important, it's relevant.
Gary, does this remind you of some there? You said something about environments, pulling out of a common environment. There was a couple other guests that brought that same thing. We didn't know because we didn't experience.
Right.
It's so amazingly impactful because that's where a lot of assumptions are based. Oh, you should know better. Well, how would I know better?
Yeah, you don't you don't know what you don't know. And for a lot of people, it's hard to imagine things that they've never seen before. Again, for me, my assumption when I first came into the army was there are no black officers. They don't
Yeah,
exist. I've never seen one.
yeah,
And so until when I actually saw one, there is a pathway.
yeah,
And then you start to figure out, I just have to figure out how to position myself to get on that path to make it there.
yeah.
A lot of it's internal, but again, is conditions based. And I really wholeheartedly, there's so many people um, that were so instrumental. And I'll give you this one other anecdotal story. Was there's a Jason Durr, and Jason Durr was my sergeant when I was in Fort Benning, Georgia, and he said, "Private." I was a private at the time. He said, "You're going to go to college," and I said, "I can't go. I'm not smart enough. I can't do it. You can't make me do it." He said, "Okay." He said, "Listen, I'm a sergeant in the United States Army. I own you 24 hours a day. So," he said, if you don't go to college, I can find something for you to do until I get tired." And so he made me go to school. I hated him for it. He made me go to school. Would you believe that about 12 years later, this was 2010, um, I'm the executive officer for a clinic in Germany, Baumholder, Germany. I do the hiring and firing of certain positions. I'm going through resumes, and I see a Jason Durr. He's a social worker. I said, this can't be him. And so he was highly qualified. That's the reason why his application made it to me. And I gave him a call, and would you believe it was Jason Durr? And I said, I am your private that you made go to college about 11, 12 years ago. And so I hired Jason Durr. It was amazing. It was full circle, and I was able to hire him. and he was once my leader. So I, have all these anecdotal stories where people just pour into me, and then you pay it forward. I know it sounds like an empty platitude, but it's not. It's really finding ways to just invest in people.